There's something incredibly satisfying about dyeing with materials that you've foraged out in the wild. And in this video, I'm going to be experimenting with a new method for extracting the colour from ivy berries. If you're new here, my name is Becca and I'm a hand spinner, dyer and newbie weaver, and you're very welcome to my home in West Wales. So this is what we're using today, and these are ivy berries. If you're outside the UK, you might know this plant as English ivy. I will put the Latin on the screen. I didn't know what it was before I started this video, but apparently it's gone out of my head. Anyway, so that's the bit that we want. And you can get a dye by using the hot water dyeing method, and I do have a video on that on the channel on how to extract your dye that way. But in this video, I'm going to do something slightly different. Never done it before, so a bit of an experiment. We'll have to see what happens. And this is what I'm talking about. So in here, I have 250 grams of ivy berries that have been soaking for nearly a month in a cheap bottle of white wine. It was dry white wine, and I certainly wouldn't have drunk it, but for this purpose, it's fine. And I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this. I'm going to take a photograph of this jar against a white background and hopefully you'll be able to see. But it's sort of got like a sort of a wine colour to the liquid. So I am now going to add twice as much water to it and heat it again, but I'm not going to boil it. I'm just going to bring it up to just sort of simmering point, so not boiling, to see if I can get just a little bit more colour out of that before I actually put the fabric and fibres that I'm dyeing into it. So I'm going to give you a quick rundown of how to actually dye. As I say, I have got lots of videos on the channel, how to mordant, how to extract colour, how to do a basic dye, but I am going to run through the whole process with you. But before I do that, I'm just going to talk about a couple of things that you need to bear in mind. So safety first, pair of gloves, eye protectors, and oh, I just realised I have glasses on my head, but there you go. So eye protectors. If you're dealing with anything dusty, you might want to wear a dust mask. And then when you're actually dyeing, ivy berries are poisonous. My only heat source is in the kitchen, so I need to be very cautious. I certainly don't want to be eating and drinking anywhere near this, so that I'm not doing that sort of hand-to-mouth action. So the other thing you need to bear in mind is that this is natural dyeing, so you can only use natural fibres. So if you have a polycotton or anything blended that's got something synthetic in it, this just will not work. And anything that's 100% synthetic definitely will not work at all. So you've got to use something that is 100% natural. Now I am using a little piece of cotton, because this is an experiment, this is a sample. And then I have some wool that's been combed. Now both of these have been pre-mordanted. And when we talk about a mordant, it's a pre-treatment that will intensify the colour and also help to bond the colour to our material. Cotton is more difficult to dye than wool is, and you'd use a slightly different chemical, and it is a naturally occurring chemical, but it is a chemical. So just again, your goggles and your gloves. And then wool is, I've pre-treated this, and this has been mordanted with alum sulfate, as the cotton has been pre-treated with alum acetate. Both are widely available. They are not particularly noxious, but you know, you just be sensible and you should be fine. So I cold mordanted the wool. I have a full video on that. I will run through it very quickly. Weigh your wool, then you want 10% of that weight aluminium sulfate, and then 5% cream of tartar. Dissolve those in hot water, put them into a stainless steel, a non-reactive pot, so it can be plastic, glass, stainless steel, something that's not going to react. into cold water, then add your fibre or fabric or yarn, whatever it is that you're dyeing. So wool or silk, because this is for a protein fibre, and you just let that sit overnight. Then either use it straight away or rinse it, dry it and use it in the future. So this has been mordanted and then I've done a rinse, let it dry, and now it's ready to use. If you'd like written instructions on how to mordant wool using alum sulfate, then I do actually have a PDF that you can receive if you sign up for my newsletter. If you don't want to get the newsletter, just unsubscribe, no hard feelings. In the future, I will be making a video all about using alum acetate with cotton. If you are watching this in the future, I might well have already made that video. At the moment, the time I'm recording, haven't made it, but it is on its way. So having said all that, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in a stainless steel pot and then top it up with about that much water. So it's, but this contains a litre of liquid, this jar, I know, and it is a jar that I do not use in the kitchen. This is a jar that normally contains fibre and kind of bits for fibre arts. So yeah, I'm just going to top it up with water, then put it in my stainless steel pan and bring it up to simmering point. So I'm going to get on with that, and by the magic of editing, I'll come back to you when we're at the next stage. So there we go. That is our litre of water, 250 grams of berries that have been soaking for nearly a month to extract the colour. Then we're going to pop them on a hob, just bring them up to simmering point and let them sit there for about an hour. I have to warn you, ivy berries do smell quite bad when they're cooking. So you might want to have plenty of windows open when you're doing this if you have to do it inside in your kitchen. In the summer, I'm really looking forward to being able to do this outside. I'm going to sort of set up a like a camping stove, but at the moment we're inside. So the berries are on the stove, and now I'm going to soak what I'm going to dye in rainwater for about an hour, just to help with absorption. It really will help the dye to be absorbed onto the fibre. If you can use rainwater, it is a good option. Acid, alkalines, they will affect the colour of the dyes. So if you can get something that's kind of neutral, so like rainwater, then it's you get kind of, I'll say better results, but you get more reliable results. So this fibre is half the weight of the berries that I picked, and I always find that to be a good rule of thumb, especially when you are experimenting. Okay, so we'll let that sit and I'll see you at the next stage. So I bought my pot of dye outside to cool. Because I'm adding wool to it, then I want to make sure that I'm not going to felt my wool. So I've cooled it. I'm now going to strain it and add my fibre and fabric to it. So we've got a sort of nice pinky colour, purpley pink colour. Gonna add our fibre to it. Wearing gloves, because as I say, it is poisonous. Don't want to be poisoning ourselves. Then this is going to go back onto the heat. I'm going to bring it to simmering point, hold it at simmering point for about an hour. Then I'm going to turn it off and let it cool with the fibre and fabric in there. And we've just got our little piece of cotton just to do a cotton experiment, and I'm just going to top it up with a little bit of this water, just because it's a bit mean. I mean, that is going to dilute it a little bit, but I think we need a bit of movement or a bit of space for the fibre to move. Okay, so that is going to now go back on the heat. So this is what our pot of fabric and fibre looks like after simmering for an hour, then turning the heat off and letting it cool overnight. So now I'm just going to rinse it in rainwater and dry it and see what it looks like, see how much of that colour it actually holds on to. So that was all several days ago. It's all dry now, so I will show you how it sort of has turned out in the end. A couple of things I just wanted to mention. Now, normally when I have dyed with ivy berries, ivy leaves, sort of any part of the ivy, then I've got quite green colours, and I've got a copy of this book, which I can highly recommend, Wild Colour by Jenny Dean, and this is the page where she looks at the colours you can get with ivy, and as you can see, kind of all quite greens. So it was quite a surprise to get that sort of pinky colour coming out. It was not as unpleasant cooking it up as sometimes I find the smell of ivy when it's kind of doing its thing on the old hob. I think that the wine made a huge difference to that. I think quite a expensive way of extracting a colour, and I am going to experiment a bit more and this time use just distilled vinegar. I think it'll have a similar effect, but obviously I won't know until I try. I always find it so much fun to experiment and use different methods and share them with you here on this channel. So thank you so much. If you have been here from the start, thank you. I really appreciate it. I reached a little milestone this weekend and I got to 6,000 subscribers. So thank you for watching and liking and commenting and subscribing. It makes it all worthwhile. As I have said on many occasions, in fact, I probably say this every video, this is my hobby and I love sharing the world of fibre arts. I love sharing natural dyeing. So thank you for coming along and just, you know, enjoying the whole process. Anyway, I'm going to turn the camera around and just show you what colours I achieved. So it did dry quite a lot paler than it was in the dye bath, but you'd expect that. And I think the next time I will make the solution a bit stronger, so I will have more berries in relationship to the weight of wool I'm dyeing. The cotton, I think, yeah, turned out all right. I'm just trying to decide what colour I would call that. Would I call that mushroom or would I call that blush? I think maybe I'd call it blush. And very different from the greens that you get if you use a hot water extraction. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I will be back later in the week where I will be experimenting with creating my perfect sock yarn from a custom blend of fibres.